Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So let's get right into it. Well, this is I'll call it the super duper budget 302 build. This is from my buddy with the Cobra 2, like I mentioned in the last video, but it still has the factory 2.3 liter 4-cylinder in it. So his goal is to get a V8 in there, and this is his endeavor. So he bought this engine complete. Now, 2-barrel intake to the oil pan out of a truck over here in England, and this is a 1975 dated block. So being 1975 302, it has all of the worst parts of a 302 practically you could ever imagine in it. Teeny tiny little camshaft. It didn't even have like 0.4 of lift when we measured it, you know, with standard 1.6 rockers. The worst heads you can imagine. Even a lot of factory weirdness things that I'll get into here in a bit. But yeah, this is what we got to work with. So let's see what we can make out of it. And I'm pretty sure we can rebuild it and make them something nice. So this thing was, as you see it now, it is pretty darn clean, because when we got it, it was all sludged up. And you can see in the heads aren't terrible, but the intake valley, you know, where the sump is and the oil gets slung around, it was all carboned up. I mean, we put 2 cans of oven cleaner on it, power washing it, cleaning it. I spent a lot of time cleaning all the rust out of the cores. Take the core plugs out, you know, draining, you know, all the dirt on the floor and rust, everything falling out, you know, deburring, cleaning up holes, chamfering oil holes, opening up passages, tapping threads, cleaning. Once we got it clean, I ran my Magnaflux tool across it. That's what all this little white powder is and stuff down there, checking for cracks. So crack-free standard bore block, so it's gonna go 30 over straight off the bat, because it has a lot of bore taper in it. Some of these, like, these are the worst, usually at the back, because that's where all the sediment sits and the bores get hotter and the wears the most. So I measured like 7 thou of taper from the back of the bore to the top here. So even that's getting it close, even if you wanted to cut it like go 20 thou over bore, which is the minimum I usually like to go, but it's got so much bore wear that that's really cutting it close with what the machine shop can maybe clean up in case you have a divot or something anomaly in one cylinder. You just want to make sure it clears up. So we're going to go 30 straight off the bat, just to negate any problems. So, but crank was just dirty. It's got a story behind it, along with the heads and anything that we're going to be reusing. He already has himself a Edelbrock Torque 2 intake. Found that over here in England he paid £100 for it, which was about 130 bucks. Pretty good deal. It's a nice low profile single plane intake, smallish ports. Should fit under his stock hood. That is a 2-barrel bolted to it, because this is what he thought he was going to run at first, until he found the intake. We're going to have to find him a little Holly 600 or something and go through it. It had a Duraspark Chinese distributor on it. It was practically sludged up, could barely turn the gear on there. We're going to try to clean that up and reuse it. All the rest of the hardware, we're going to reuse as much as we can. But yeah, now we get into some more of the nitty gritty. The heater's going. I got a little hiss here, so hopefully you can hear me through it, but it looks worse than it is. This crank is actually, we're gonna just polish them up and we're gonna reuse it, because it ain't bad. No deep scratches or anything like that, which is surprising considered the rest of the things, and even looking at the bearings. But I did start miking out the journals, and I found something really interesting. So I was bumping the numbers for what the crankshaft journal's diameter should be, measuring out, and numbers weren't adding up. And so I was like, grab me the bearing shell, let's see, because they were all pulling them out. They were genuine Ford bearings, date coded 9/74, September of 74, but these are 10 thou under bearings, straight from Ford. And the main journals, the big, you know, with the crank spins on, date coded of 5 of 75. So May 1975, but they're standard. So these are standard. These are 10 thou under, straight from Ford. I mean, I don't think this was a remanufactured block because it's standard bore. It still had the rope seal on the back for the rear mains. So straight out of the factory, they put out a 10 thou under crankshaft, which is a sign of the times for the mid 70s. So, I mean, you can see they're all way down on the copper. So, but it'll be fine once we polish it up. But these heads, going to the theme of the budget build, we knew we were going to have to change, put a modern cam in it, change the springs, do some work. So I wanted to go through the heads and make sure that they were good rebuildable pieces. And yeah, first thing when I picked up a couple of valves, I was looking at them and they got these little some swirly marks on the stems. I don't know if you can see it real good. Probably not. But the stems looked funny. So what I did was I took a flashlight and I shined it into the guides. I don't know if you can see the swirly marks. And there's this little step on the bottom of each of the guides. So these guides have been knurled. They drill this little thingy at the bottom so the tool could get in there and bite, and then it runs like a screw down the guide and it flares out a bit of metal so your valves will fit tight in the guides again, and then they kind of ream them to size and then they slam them back together, and in about 1,000 to 3,000 miles everything wears back out again and your guides have just as much play as kind of like they did before. So this is somebody did a really cheap refresh on these heads at one point in its life. So needs guides. 2, and these valves are smoked. I mean, I don't know if you can see the step right there. The intake valves, the seats aren't terrible, but you can see the margins real small. The exhaust valves are just freaking smoked on the seats, but the stems are okay. The stems are shot and the seats aren't great. So they wouldn't take another grind. The stems are so shot anyways that I think I measured it at like 15 thou of wear. So this is even the right head, but let's go to show you. Yeah, these things are just smoked. So it needs valves, needs guides. These being 1975 heads are probably the worst you could imagine as far as emissions heads there are. For flow, it's got these big stupid thingies on the side of the head here, if you've ever seen them. So you have to have these to close up the hole for the smog pump that gets pumped into here. Well, this is where the air comes in. There's all this rust. So you gotta have something to plug these up. Tiny, I mean, my regular index finger can barely fit into these ports. Super big humps. You can see it there for the emission stuff, for the air injection. I don't know what they did. Let me get a flashlight here. You can see like the scratches all over the place. Like they use some hardcore grinding discs to clean the surface of the head. So the heads need a skim. So with everything needing to get done on these heads, they are just not worth rebuilding. Being in England, you put a feeler out for looking for some E7s. E7s, I know I can do support work on them. The rocker arms aren't bad. We can, put valve springs, a set of trick full of valve springs in them and get them up to snuff. Put a valve job on them, maybe a skim, a couple $100, and then he'd have himself a nice set of heads. Not performance heads, but heads that'd treat them well. I mean, these aren't worth putting money into. And, we were thinking about going that route, but we couldn't find anybody selling the E7s over here. That's not like the States where I've literally scrapped them because they are just not worth the time or the money. But here, it's a different story. So I know we're thinking about getting this done first, but right now they had the Vivor Chinese head. It's for like 250 some bucks a piece, plus shipping and taxes. I think we're in a pair of heads for $608. So for him, that was 450 pounds. And well, that's not including any import fees yet. We don't know what that's going to be till they show up and the government hits us with that. But switching over to a set of aluminum Vevor Chinese heads is they're already on order. So we're going to see how they turn out. We've seen a couple videos online about people showing you what the in and outs of them are, but they really didn't show me what I want to know. Like how strong are the springs? What does the valve job look like? How do the ports look? So when we get them, I'm going to take them apart, really give an in-depth review on them, because I got a set of AFR 185 Enforcers here, brand new in the box. So we'll try to compare them side by side and give you the lowdown on that. So with a set of aluminum heads on here, he'll be probably making it easy, even with a mild flat tappet cam, 300 to the wheels, we're hoping, and not being too rowdy or anything. But yeah, this block, other than the overbore, you can see the deck surface. I mean, I don't know what the heck they use. They probably used not like a Roll-Lock Scotch-Brite wheel, but probably like a proper sanding disc to make scratches this deep. So I can feel them here. Yeah, they went around it. So the deck's gonna need to get skimmed, squared up, and the overbore. We've got to order pistons here next and rings. I can even feel how heavy these are. So worn at the top. Standard emissions era block stuff, and even the cam bearings. You could tell the block was overheated, because when a block gets overheated, the way I can tell is the cam bearings, because the cam bearings get no cooling. So you look in the bottom of the valley, right down in here, there's no water jackets next to them or anything like that to pull the heat out. So the cam bearings get smoked usually. The oil keeps these bearings a lot cooler. But yeah, pulling the cam bearings out, and the babbitt is coming off of the lead backing. Even this big section kind of fell out of it. And this one here, this is number 3. This is the one right in the middle of the block that gets the most heat. And this is another one. What's this, number 4? That's missing a section. So the only thing valuable or worth saving anything out of these heads is the rockers actually weren't bad. And I pulled these the emissions plugs out. You never know when you need a set. So I had an assortment of them, and you get a little tool. And it's got a step, so you thread it in. You jam this against the outside perimeter here. You heat it up with a torch. I just use a torch here, soften up the carbon, and then you can just walk it out. So even these nasty heads, these still came out okay. But yeah, if you ever want to know the thread size, if you really want to clean them up, it's like something. It's a 5/8-11. So funky threads. You can't really find a bolts to go in there. So there is the build of the super duper cheap 302 kicked off. And yeah, I'm recording this on another kind of microphone. I'll see how it turns out. But yeah, follow along. This one's going to be interesting. So yeah, once the parts show up, when we get some more developments happening, we'll get back on this project, and we'll see what else we got up to. So still got to start on the brakes on this. But wish me luck. So thanks for sticking it in, guys, and I'll catch you real soon. Bye-bye.